Welcome, cherished viewers, to Inspirational History, where we unearth the profound narratives of human triumph that echo through the ages. Today, we embark on an epic journey to a civilization that, despite immense adversity, demonstrates the indomitable power of the human, a spirit to not only endure but to inspire future generations with its enduring legacy. We're venturing into the heart of ancient Mesoamerica, to a city of unparalleled wonder and ingenuity. Tenochtitlan. Imagine a metropolis rising from the shimmering waters of a vast lake. A vibrant tapestry of canals, causeways, and majestic temples reaching for the sky. This was the home of the Mexica people, often known as the Aztecs, a civilization whose brilliance in engineering, social organization, and cultural expression rivaled any on Earth. Their story is not merely one of empire and conquest, but a testament to the unconquerable spirit and narrative of resilience, adaptation, and the profound determination to preserve their identity and wisdom, even in the shadow of overwhelming change. History, in its rawest form, often presents us with the dramatic clash of forces, but beneath the grand narratives of empires rising and falling, there are countless individual and communal stories of perseverance, quiet strength, and the steadfast refusal to be erased. Today we peel back the layers of time to reveal how a spirit seemingly brought to its knees could find new ways to thrive, to teach, and to endure. This is a story of resurgence from ashes, a powerful reminder that the true measure of a people lies not in their victories on the battlefield, but in their capacity for hope, innovation, and the unwavering commitment to their heritage. Join us as we explore the echoes of Tenochtitlan and the inspiring lessons it offers for our own times. In the early 16th century, long before the arrival of any foreign ships, Tenochtitlan stood as a dazzling jewel, the beating heart of the Aztec Triple Alliance. Picture it, a city of perhaps 200,000 people, larger than most European capitals of its time, nestled on an island in Lake Texcoco. Its very foundation was an act of audacious ingenuity, a testament to a people who saw not an obstacle in a vast lake, as an opportunity to build something truly unique. Walk with me through its bustling marketplaces, where goods flowed in from every corner of their vast dominion. The air hummed with the chatter of Nahuatl, the dominant language, interspersed with the diverse tongues of traders and artisans. The scent of exotic spices mingled with the earthy aroma of maize and the sweet fragrance of flowers from meticulously cultivated gardens. Imagine the vibrant colors of cloaks and textiles, the gleam of obsidian tools, and the intricate craftsmanship of gold and jade. This was a sophisticated society, governed by complex laws, a rich religious cosmology, and an intricate social hierarchy that fostered order and communal purpose. The very ground beneath your feet, the agricultural heartland of the city, was a marvel of advanced engineering. The chinampas, often called floating gardens, these rectangular plots of fertile land, constructed from lake-bed mud and decaying vegetation, anchored by willow trees, produced abundant crops of maize, beans, squash, and chili peppers. They were not merely farms. They were living proof of the Mexica's profound understanding of their environment and their capacity to adapt and innovate on an immense scale. This system sustained a massive population, a clear demonstration of their resilience in turning a watery landscape into a fertile breadbasket. It was a daily commitment, a continuous act of creation that fed their bodies and anchored their spirits. The communal strength of the Mexica was deeply woven into the fabric of their daily lives, from the collective labor required to maintain the chinampas and causeways, to the intricate systems of tribute collection and distribution that bound the empire. Cooperation was paramount. Their education system, which included universal schooling for boys and girls, emphasized civic duty, historical knowledge, and practical skills. This comprehensive approach fostered not just individual competence, but a profound sense of collective identity and shared destiny. When you observe the architectural grandeur of the Templo Mayor rising majestically at the city's heart, you see not just a religious edifice, but a physical manifestation of this collective spirit built block by laborious block by a united populace. Each stone represented a shared dream, a common purpose. Then, across the vast ocean, something entirely alien began to stir. Reports trickled in, strange tales of winged mountains on the horizon, carrying pale-skinned beings. The initial encounters with the Spanish conquistadors were marked by curiosity, apprehension, and a desperate attempt by the Mexica leadership to comprehend this entirely new and unknown threat. Montezuma II, the Tlatoani, employed diplomacy, offering gifts and seeking to integrate the newcomers into his existing political framework. This wasn't weakness. It was an act of a sophisticated power attempting to understand and adapt to an unprecedented situation, showcasing an immediate resilience in their strategic thinking. But the invaders brought more than just steel and gunpowder, carried unseen weapons. Diseases like smallpox, to which the indigenous populations had no immunity, swept through communities with devastating speed, often preceding the actual arrival of the Spanish forces. This invisible enemy decimated populations, weakening the very fabric of society and creating an unparalleled crisis. Yet, even in the face of such biological warfare, the Mexica spirit remained unbroken. They continued their healing practices, cared for their sick, and mourned their dead with dignity, demonstrating a profound adaptability and an unwavering commitment to their people. The subsequent military encounters were fierce, testing the Mexica's limits. Despite the technological disparities, their warriors fought with incredible bravery and tactical skill, understanding their terrain and leveraging their numbers. They learned quickly, adapting their fighting styles and employing guerrilla tactics where possible. This period was marked by daily acts of perseverance, not just on the battlefield, but within the city walls. People continued to maintain their cultural rituals, even in the shadow of siege. Families protected their precious knowledge, their stories, and their artistic traditions, often in secret, laying the subtle groundwork for long-term cultural survival. These were the countless quiet acts of defiance and determination that characterized the unconquerable spirit of a people refusing to yield their essence. They adapted, they learned, and even as their world irrevocably changed, they held on to the core of who they were, a testament to their deep-rooted strength. As the initial shockwaves of the Spanish arrival rippled across Mesoamerica, ushering in an era of unprecedented conflict and upheaval, the Mexica people faced their ultimate test. In this crucible of crisis, a new kind of leadership was forged, demanding not only military prowess but an extraordinary depth of mental fortitude and an unwavering commitment to a besieged people. It is within these shadows that the figure of the last independent Tlatoani, or revered speaker of Tenochtitlan, rises to prominence, a beacon of courageous resistance and strategic brilliance, whose story illuminates the very essence of human defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. Imagine the weight of a dying empire resting on the shoulders of a young man barely in his 20s, whose name translates powerfully to descending eagle, or eagle that descended, took the mantle of leadership in 1520. Following the tragic death of Montezuma II and the brief illness-stricken reign of he inherited a city ravaged by disease, its alliances fractured, and its people weary from constant struggle. Yet, in his gaze, there was no despair, but a fierce, unyielding resolve. His ascension was not merely a political transition, it was a desperate plea for hope, a call to arms for a civilization determined to fight for its very existence. Leadership during the siege of Tenochtitlan stands as one of history's most compelling narratives of strategic brilliance, against immense numerical and technological disparity. The Spanish, bolstered by tens of thousands of indigenous allies, who were historical rivals of the Mexica, particularly the Tlaxcalteca, laid siege to the island city. They had superior weaponry, cannons, muskets, steel armor, and cavalry. However, possessed an intimate knowledge of his city and a deep understanding of his people's capabilities and spirit. His defense was a masterful symphony of ingenuity and courage. He ordered the destruction of causeway bridges, turning the very aquatic nature of Tenochtitlan into a formidable defensive barrier. Slowing the advance of Spanish cavalry and artillery, he organized coordinated attacks on the brigantines. The small warships the Spanish had built to control the lake, devising underwater traps and ambushes. He deployed a highly disciplined fighting force, using the city's complex network of canals and buildings to create ambush points, turning narrow streets into death traps for the invaders. His warriors fought with unparalleled ferocity, driven by a desperate patriotism and a profound connection to their homeland and gods. Consider the daily reality of this siege. Days blurred into weeks, then months. The once bustling marketplaces fell silent, replaced by the sounds of battle and the cries of the suffering. Food supplies dwindled, fresh water became scarce, and the ever-present threat of disease continued its invisible siege. Yet through it all, maintained the morale of his people. He was not a distant ruler. He was with them, sharing their hardships, inspiring them through his unwavering presence and unwavering commitment. He understood that true leadership in such dire times was not about grand pronouncements, but about shared sacrifice and a common purpose. His mental fortitude, his ability to sustain hope and resistance in the face of such overwhelming pressure, is a profound testament to the human capacity for endurance. He instilled in his people the belief that their spirit could not be broken, even if their bodies weakened. The strategic decisions made by were born of necessity and brilliance. He recognized that direct open-field confrontation against Spanish firepower was suicidal. Instead, he forced them into close-quarters combat within the dense urban labyrinth, negating their cavalry advantage. He understood the psychological impact of sustained resistance, denying the Spanish an easy victory and forcing them into a protracted, costly war of attrition. His vision was to exhaust the invaders, to break their will, to inspire his people to a level of heroism that would be remembered forever. Even as the city walls crumbled and the final desperate battles raged, Tedeschi's presence was a rallying cry, a living embodiment of the Mexica's refusal to surrender their dignity. The final fall of Tenochtitlan in August 1521, after 93 days of relentless siege, was not a surrender of spirit, but the exhaustion of all material means of resistance. Captured while attempting to escape and regroup, faced his captors with the same stoicism and courage he had shown throughout the siege, his famous request to be killed immediately rather than suffer humiliation speaks volumes about his profound sense of honor and an inner strength that transcended physical defeat. Even in captivity, his presence continued to inspire fear in the Spanish and hope among his people leading, to keep him close, eventually executing him years later under dubious pretenses. A clear indication of the lasting threat his symbolic presence posed. Beyond, the narrative of this period is rich with the stories of other indigenous figures whose actions, though perhaps less documented by colonial chroniclers, were equally pivotal. Consider the leaders of Tlaxcala, the long-standing enemies of the Mexica. Their strategic decision to ally with the Spanish, while viewed by some as collaboration, was for them a profound act of self-preservation and a calculated gamble to dismantle their historical oppressor. Their role in providing tens of thousands of warriors, vital intelligence, logistical support was indispensable to the Spanish victory. For the Tlaxcalteca, this alliance was a testament to their own strategic brilliance and their determination to secure their future, even if it meant navigating an entirely new and dangerous political landscape. They, too, were making choices for the survival and future of their people, embodying a different facet of indigenous adaptation. Moreover, in the immediate aftermath of the conquest, a silent army of early Nahua chroniclers and intellectuals began their own form of resistance and preservation. Figures like Don Fernando de Alva Ixtlahuaxtli, a descendant of the Acohua rulers of Texcoco, dedicated their lives to meticulously documenting the histories, genealogies, and traditions of their ancestors. Working under the new colonial regime, often subtly, they sought to ensure that the rich tapestry of pre-Hispanic knowledge would not be entirely lost. Their efforts, often in partnership with sympathetic Spanish friars who saw value in understanding the cultures they were converting, were acts of profound cultural preservation. They understood that even if military battles were lost, the war for memory and identity could still be won. Their very act of recording was a strategic decision to lay the groundwork for cultural survival, ensuring that the essence of their civilization would endure beyond the immediate trauma of conquest. The actions and sacrifices of leaders and the strategic foresight of groups like the Tlaxcalteca, or the quiet dedication of the Nahua chroniclers, collectively laid the indispensable groundwork for cultural survival and future forms of resistance. They demonstrated that even when conventional military victory is unattainable, the spirit of a people can find new avenues for expression, for defiance, and for the perpetuation of their heritage. The lessons from these transformations are clear. Leadership in crisis demands not only strength but also adaptability and a profound connection to the people one serves. Their struggles, though ending in a military defeat, ignited a different kind of victory, a cultural fortitude that would echo through the centuries, setting the stage for a quieter yet equally profound act of triumph. The fall of Tenochtitlan marked a brutal transition, a cataclysmic shift in the world order of Mesoamerica. Yet even as temples crumbled and political structures dissolved, the unquenchable human thirst for knowledge and the profound need to preserve identity found new, ingenious pathways. This was a different kind of battlefield, fought not with obsidian blades, but with quills and pigments. In the quiet corners of monasteries and the hidden workshops of artisans, it was here, in the pursuit of knowledge and the safeguarding of ancient wisdom, that a remarkable triumph of human intellect and cultural resilience truly began to unfold. Imagine the immense challenge. A rich, oral tradition and a sophisticated pictographic writing system facing a foreign conqueror determined to impose a new language, a new religion, and a new way of seeing the world. Yet, within this crucible of cultural collision, indigenous scribes and scholars, often working under the watchful eyes of Spanish friars, embarked on a monumental and often dangerous mission to transcribe and preserve vast amounts of Nahua codices, histories, and spiritual knowledge. These were not acts of passive compliance, but strategic maneuvers to ensure that the intellectual and spiritual heritage of their ancestors would not vanish into the dust of conquest. Consider the dedication required. These were individuals who, having been trained in the intricate pre-Hispanic systems of knowledge transmission, now had to master the complexities of the Latin alphabet and the Spanish language. They painstakingly learned to render the nuances of Nahuatl speech, the symbolism of their pictographs, the intricate details of their historical narratives into a European script. Each word written, each story recorded, was an act of profound defiance against historical erasure, quiet assertion that their past mattered, that their wisdom held enduring value. They served as indispensable bridges between two vastly different worlds, mediating the translation of concepts, beliefs, and events, ensuring that the essence of their civilization survived the linguistic and cultural chasm. Perhaps the most monumental achievement born from this era of intellectual preservation is the Florentine Codex, or, as it was originally known, Historia General de las Cosas de Nueva España. This wasn't merely a book. It was a collaborative ethnographic masterpiece, spanning 12 volumes, painstakingly compiled between 1540 and 1585. At its heart was the Franciscan friar Bernardino de Bay, a man of rare foresight and empathy, who recognized the immense value of indigenous knowledge. But the true genius and dedication lay with his indigenous informants and scribes from Tlatelolco. These highly educated Nahua intellectuals, men like Antonio Valeriano, Alonso de Veteran, and Pedro de San Buenaventura, dictated, translated, and illustrated the entirety of the Nahua worldview. Picture them, the elders sharing their memories of pre-conquest life, the priests recounting ancient rituals, the warriors describing battles, and the common people detailing their daily routines. Side by side with the Nahua text, provided a Spanish translation, often with their input, ensuring a dual record. The brilliance of the Florentine Codex lies not just in its comprehensive scope covering everything from the gods and their rituals to flora and fauna, to metallurgy and medicine, but in its bicultural methodology. It blended European ethnographic inquiry with indigenous oral tradition and visual representation, creating a unique historical artifact. It stands as an unparalleled testament to the power of intellectual collaboration, a project driven by a shared, though sometimes conflicting, dedication to understanding and recording a vanishing world. Without these indigenous scholars, this profound window into a vibrant civilization would have remained forever closed. It represents a breakthrough in cross-cultural documentation, an enduring monument to the pursuit of knowledge across seemingly insurmountable barriers. The ingenuity of the indigenous spirit wasn't confined to written texts. Indigenous artists and artisans found equally powerful ways to adapt and resist. As Spanish conquerors imposed new religious iconography and artistic styles, Nahua painters, sculptors, and featherworkers subtly wove their own ancestral symbols and narratives into Christian art. A seemingly conventional altarpiece might feature a cross, but its intricate details, the patterns in the robes, or the hidden symbolism in the flora and fauna, would resonate deeply with pre-Hispanic cosmology. A Christian saint might be rendered with the stylized features of a Mexica deity, or a familiar indigenous myth might be subtly alluded to in the background of a biblical scene. This was not merely imitation. It was a sophisticated act of cultural syncretism, a form of resistance that ensured the continuity of their traditions under the guise of compliance. These artists performed a delicate dance, outwardly embracing the new while inwardly preserving the old. They continued to use traditional materials and techniques, ensuring the survival of ancient crafts. The vibrant feather mosaics, a revered art form in pre-Hispanic times, found new life in Christian imagery, transforming European religious figures into masterpieces that vibrated with indigenous spiritual power. This fusion of styles was a testament to their adaptability and their unwavering commitment to their artistic heritage. It allowed them to maintain their identity, subtly asserting their presence and their past in the very spaces meant to signify their conversion. This ingenuity was a quiet revolution, a continuous act of creation that demonstrated the enduring strength of their cultural spirit. Beyond art and written records, the enduring knowledge of the Mexica people in practical fields quietly influenced the developing colonial society. Their sophisticated understanding of agriculture, particularly the Chinampa system, continued to feed the growing population of New Spain. While European farming methods were introduced, the fundamental efficiency and productivity of indigenous practices were undeniable, demonstrating a quiet yet profound influence. Their knowledge of medicinal plants and healing practices also persisted. Despite the imposition of European medical theories, indigenous healers and their vast pharmacopoeia of local plants continued to be relied upon by all segments of society, a testament to the efficacy and depth of their traditional wisdom. Furthermore, their advanced understanding of astronomy and the intricate workings of their calendar system, though often dismissed or misunderstood by the Spanish, represented a profound intellectual achievement. While not directly integrated into European science at the time, its knowledge was preserved within indigenous communities and continued to inform their agricultural cycles and ceremonial life, proving its intrinsic value. The dedication to discovering and understanding the cosmos, the human body, and the natural world was never truly extinguished. It simply went underground, persisting in fragmented forms, in oral traditions, and in the continued practice of daily life, waiting for a future moment to re-emerge. This segment evokes a sense of profound wonder at the human intellect, its boundless capacity for preservation and adaptation. It highlights the immense dedication to discovery, not just of new lands, but of one's own enduring identity and wisdom in a radically changed world. The efforts of indigenous scholars, artists, and practitioners, often working in anonymity or under duress, ensured that the dust of conquest could not completely bury the vibrant civilization that once was. Through their ingenuity and steadfast pursuit of knowledge, they carved out a space for their heritage to survive, to evolve, and to continue inspiring generations. This was a silent yet powerful testament to human perseverance and the profound impact of understanding and progress, setting the stage for the enduring legacy that continues to resonate today. The story of Tenochtitlan does not end with its fall, nor does the narrative of the Mexica spirit conclude with the imposition of colonial rule. Rather, the profound resilience, the ingenious preservation of knowledge, and the quiet acts of cultural adaptation we've explored blossomed into a vibrant, enduring legacy. For centuries, the spiritual and cultural echoes of the Mexica and other indigenous peoples have continued to resonate, shaping the very soul of modern Mexican identity, influencing its art, enriching its language, and fueling its most powerful social movements. This final segment unveils how the ashes of empire became the fertile ground for a remarkable and ongoing resurgence, a testament to the power of collective memory and the human will to define its own future. Imagine walking through the streets of modern Mexico City, built atop the very ruins of Tenochtitlan. Here, the past is not merely buried, it pulses beneath the concrete. You see the vibrant colors of murals depicting pre-Hispanic legends, hear Nahuatl words woven into everyday Spanish, and taste the ancient flavors of maize and chili that form the bedrock of Mexican cuisine. This pervasive cultural influence is no accident. It is the direct result of centuries of subtle yet powerful acts of cultural preservation and the gradual, persistent reassertion of indigenous identity. The mestizaje, the blending of indigenous and European cultures, that defines Mexico is not just about genetics. It is a profound testament to the enduring vibrancy and influence of indigenous heritage that refuse to be extinguished. The very notion of a distinct Mexican identity unique from its European colonial past is deeply rooted in this recognition and celebration of its indigenous roots. Throughout the long colonial period and into the independent nationhood of Mexico, there have been countless instances of visionary indigenous leadership that propelled this cultural and social resurgence. While often operating outside formal political structures, these leaders championed the rights of their communities, advocated for the reclamation of ancestral lands, and fought for the recognition and respect of their unique cultures. Think of the quiet resilience of village elders who ensured ancient stories were passed down orally from generation to generation, keeping alive the language and traditions that defined their people. Consider the community organizers who, against all odds, maintained traditional forms of governance and communal land ownership despite attempts to dismantle them. These were not always charismatic figures on a national stage, but deeply rooted leaders within their communities, whose wisdom and unwavering commitment sustained the flame of indigenous identity. Their collective actions, often small but persistent, demonstrated the profound power of unity in the face of systemic oppression.
In the 20th and 21st centuries, this quiet perseverance has erupted into powerful social movements. The Zapatista uprising in Chiapas, though a modern phenomenon, draws deeply from the historical struggles and philosophical underpinnings of indigenous resistance, demanding justice, autonomy, and respect for indigenous ways of life. Even the Mexican Revolution, often seen through a Western lens, had strong undercurrents of indigenous grievances and desires for land reform and social justice, reflecting centuries of accumulated struggle. These movements highlight the continuous rebuilding of spirit and culture, not just through preservation, but through active reclamation and the demand for rightful place in society. They are living proof that the past is not dead. It is a vital, driving force in the present. A truly inspiring aspect of this ongoing legacy is the contemporary resurgence of Nahuatl language, traditional crafts, and pre-Hispanic spiritual practices. In many communities, there are dedicated efforts to teach Nahuatl in schools, ensuring its survival for future generations. Artisans are reviving ancient weaving techniques, pottery styles, and featherwork, often infused with contemporary messages, but unmistakably echoing the mastery of their ancestors. Archaeological discoveries continue to reveal more about the sophisticated worldview of the Mexica, prompting a broader societal reevaluation and appreciation of their intellectual contribution. Festivals celebrate ancient traditions, dances, and ceremonies, inviting modern Mexicans to reconnect with their deep historical roots. These acts are not merely nostalgic, they are vibrant, living expressions of a culture continually asserting its value and inspiring pride. This is the phoenix of Tenochtitlan truly taking flight, not as a literal recreation of the past, but as a dynamic, evolving cultural force that draws strength from its foundations while adapting to the present. The initial destructive impact of conquest was undeniable, leaving scars that run deep through history. Yet, when we contrast that initial trauma with the enduring vibrancy and profound influence of indigenous heritage on modern Mexico, we uncover a powerful story of survival and cultural triumph. It is a narrative that challenges the simplistic notion of complete conquest and highlights the subtle, persistent power of a people's spirit. The Mexica did not vanish. They transformed, their essence subtly, yet fundamentally, permeating the new world that emerged. Their story serves as a profound example that even in the face of overwhelming power, the human spirit, rooted in culture, community, and an unwavering will to endure, can find ways to survive, to influence, and ultimately to inspire.
We have journeyed through the vibrant heart of ancient Tenochtitlan, witnessed the fierce courage of its last Tlatoani, and marveled at the quiet ingenuity of scholars and artists who safeguarded a civilization's memory. We have seen how, from the shadow of conquest, powerful and undeniable spirit of resilience not only endured, but profoundly shaped the future. The story of the Mexica people, often presented as a narrative of fall, is, in truth, an epic of resurgence, a testament to the incredible human capacity for adaptation, preservation, and the unwavering will to maintain identity. This journey reminds us that history is not just a collection of dates and battles. It is a rich tapestry woven with countless threads of human experience. In the threads of Tenochtitlan, we find universal lessons that resonate profoundly with our own lives. The power of resilience. Even when faced with unimaginable adversity, the human spirit possesses an innate ability to bend but not break. The Mexica's daily acts of perseverance, their communal strength, and their deep connection to their heritage allowed them to endure the most profound challenges. This teaches us that true strength lies in our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to keep moving forward, one small act of determination at a time. The enduring value of culture, their dedication to preserving their language, art, and knowledge, often in secret, speaks volumes about the intrinsic worth of our cultural roots, reminds us that our stories, our traditions, and our unique ways of seeing the world are not just relics of the past, but vital sources of strength and identity in the present. The triumph of visionary leadership, from his unwavering courage in battle, to the quiet dedication of scribes and the powerful advocacy of indigenous leaders through the centuries, we see how individual and collective vision, even in the darkest times, can illuminate a path towards enduring change and recognition. It teaches us the importance of leadership that serves not just the moment, but the long arc of a people's future, the continuous rebirth. The Phoenix of Tenochtitlan is not a static symbol. It is a living process. It demonstrates that destruction does not always mean an end, but can be a catalyst for profound transformation and a renewed sense of purpose. It shows us that from the ashes of past challenges, new forms of beauty, strength, and influence can emerge. As we conclude our journey, reflect on the echoes of Tenochtitlan in your own life. When you face an overwhelming challenge, when your spirit feels tested, remember the Chinampas rising from the lake, the codices painstakingly preserved, the languages enduring against odds. Remember that the human story is fundamentally one of overcoming, of finding innovative solutions, and of an unyielding capacity for hope. The legacy of Tenochtitlan is not just about a city that was lost and found. It is about a spirit that refused to die, a culture that insisted on living, and a people who continue to inspire us with their profound and unconquerable spirit. May their story empower you to build your own legacies of resilience, wisdom, and triumph in the world today. Thank you for joining us on Inspirational History. Until our next journey into the past, keep seeking the lessons that elevate the human spirit. That brings us to the end of another journey through the annals of inspirational history. We hope this story of triumph, resilience, and the enduring human spirit has left you feeling empowered and reflective. If you were moved by this tale, please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the past, and comment below with your thoughts or any historical moments that inspire you. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful stories of human triumph.